Hey, good morning. How's it going? All right, we're back for another day. What I want to do today is I want to map some stuff out about the size of our system here. Make a little legend. We'll make a background. It's a good background. Yeah, it's pretty good. Let's go with this. It's nice and relatively dark. Make a new layer. Let's give us some space here. Actually, let's just move this over to the right. So we want our little pieces here. I need to look at the grid sometimes. Let's get at least the center marks in here. Should help. 640 by 360. So the halfway point should be 320. 320. There we go. So we're going to block out how much usable space we actually have. Grab the floor as well. Actually, let's just grab this whole thing. So this would be like the zoomed in. So this is like zoomed in. This will be how much space we have with the ship in focus, which we already kind of know from, we have a model of it, which is this. Like this is the maximum buildable area. So like we can only build as big as this space is, but we can go down. So I think this is already pretty much figured out, but I still want a model of it because I also want to compare this to like how much space we have when we are zoomed out. This one's an interesting choice, this top level. Maybe this top level should only accept certain types. I want to leave some room for the UI elements. So this is like, this block represents like the maximum area we can build in. So I just want to recreate this quickly in Sprite. Why are you yelling at me, Godot? Grid is not super helpful. So we're gonna presume a floor and a wall. Since that's kind of, this is like the maximum volume that can be occupied. Let's just start making a shape. So right now it's 17 by 17. So we'll just make that shape really quick. We'll go out 17 here. You can do this with the background on. But I want to look at how big everything is zoomed out, because we've made half scale models of all the terrain pieces. So I want to see how much space the maximum area looks like on the screen. And I guess we could infer that with like maths, but I want to see what it looks like. So that's 8, 9, I think 17 by 17 might be too much. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We might end up with 15 by 15. I think that's going to be better. Let's start with that. Should be a bit of a downsizing from what we currently are using, but I think we'll have more room on the overworld, if you want to call it that. So we're presuming a very dense layout here. Oh. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so this is 8. Just copy this over one more time. Being careful to overlap by 1, so we get 15. Okay, so this is the maximum area for one layer. We have like 6+ layers, so let's move this down. Something like that. How far is this from the edge here? 28. How tall is one of these? 40. I like something like that better. Keep one tile width. Yeah. So let's add as many layers as we can. So we'll say two, 3, 4, 5. Oh, we're at 5. I think 5 is going to be the magic number. Let's see how much space we have at the top. If it's 40, I'm going to be pleased. It is. Okay, I think this is perfect. So we can have, this is a bit of a downsize of what we've currently estimated. This is a grid of 15 by 15 by 5. Which I think is quite good. It's plenty of space. Your average, if you're curious, the average FTL ship is like 15 by 16 or something like that. Like if we look at let's look at the Kestrel. You can get a good picture of the Kestrel on the inside. Why did they stop showing the resolution of pictures? Here it is in 720p. So like if you look at the Kestrel, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 long. So it's 15 long and only 8 across. It's a bit of a cramped design, but there's plenty here. There's plenty going on here. Our walls are 1 tile thick, so we have to think about that as well, whereas FTL walls are 0 tiles thick. They're just dividing lines between tiles. So we have less lengthwise room compared to FTL, but we have a lot more widthwise room. But we also have a lot more vertical room because we can stack this 5 times. So I think overall, it's pretty reasonable. If we end up with something like this. So this would be zoomed in, but now we need to recalculate this for zoomed out. Let's make another layer. Zoomed out. This is where you would see only the exterior of the ship. So for zoomed in, you'd see everything. You'd get the same view we have here, where you can kind of peer into the ship. So you'd have this interior view. But then we want to zoom out 1 level to the miniature version where you only see the exterior of the ship, and that's where you'll be able to see other ships that are nearby. So unlike FTL, you might be facing off against more than 1 ship. Maybe there's 2 enemy ships, but 1 allied ship. And like the 2 enemy ships are like in front of you and to your right, and maybe the allied ship is behind you or something like that. Because we can also turn the ship. So positionality is going to be a much bigger factor here. So let's see. So for the zoomed out view, we need the rest of our legend here. We need to grab the miniature versions of this, yeah, like this. Oh, I didn't do that here. I want to. So that this level is a combination of the 2. All right, so grab this. So now we have the miniature version of this. Oops, this is on the wrong layer. Then we're going to do the same basic thing here. collapse this. And we're going to make this block in the center. And then we're going to see how many ships we can, if we can fit the ships on each side. I would like to be able to have a ship at each corner. Obviously at this view, this block is too big, but I'm hoping at the smaller scale, we'll be able to fit it. So we just replicate a 15 by 15 block here. Doesn't really matter where, I guess. Here's 5. Let's just copy this 3 times. This 5 again? Okay, let's copy this 3 times. So this is the same maximum size of each ship layer as if it was densely packed wall to wall, literally wall to wall, which is unrealistic but good, useful for our purposes. Centering this is going to be a little tougher. We don't have to worry about that really. Let's just get the 5. Okay, here's a densely packed ship block. Let's attempt to center this somehow. I'm not really sure how. Guess I can check how far it is on each edge of this here. This is 111. This one is 109. Okay, we're only off by 1. That's pretty impressive. There we go. That should be it. Should be 110 on both sides now. Yep. All right. So this is centered. It's a little big, but also most ships are not going to be this big. This is like the maximum possible area. So what if we started copying these to the corners? Oof. It's a little tight. I'm not going to lie here. There's a little too much ship here. I guess they could overlap to an extent and it wouldn't be the worst. Maybe 15 by 15 is too much. I can't go smaller than 1/2. I like tried to draw smaller than 1/2. Tried to draw like 1/4, but the ship, like the shapes start to break down at 1/4 in a way that I cannot duplicate correctly. I guess I managed with this one somehow. But it's also the wrong perspective. This becomes isometric perspective here. I can't really maintain our 4:1 diametric perspective at this smaller scale. Which I guess isn't the worst, but... So do we need to make a smaller and even smaller ship? It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to do. I mean, it would be fine if we like did this, if we did like this 1-on-1. You had one ship here and like one ship here or something like that. Like an FTL just 1v1 setup, but I kind of really want multi-ship actions. In which case, I guess we need to make this smaller. I guess some overlap is okay. But I also want some margins on the edge. Like I don't want to run right up to the edge with these. Let's hide the legend. So let's say we put ships in 4 corners here. Oh yeah, they even overlap. At least at the back. All right, these are too big. But I think if we just made them 13 by 13, maybe that would be good enough. Sure, this isn't the most exciting thing to see, but these are some things I need to think about here. I call this zoomed out. I call this 15 by 15. By 15 zoomed in. I don't want to go down to 11 by 11, so let's hope the 13 by 13 gives us enough space. Yeah, this is way too crowded. Maybe you should go down to 11 by 11. My concern is that the smaller we go, the less complexity we have in the size of the buildings. So like 13 by 13 is pretty big. Actually, this is 17 by 17, and like there's room for so much stuff here. You could have so many different rooms. You could have like a room here. Oops. Get rid of that. Make like let's make like a room and like another room, maybe a bigger hallway for this one. Like you can fit a bunch of different rooms of like nice size, but maybe I'm expecting the rooms to be too big. I mean, FTL rooms are 2 by 2s. Doors. You have these big areas. This is 17 by 17. It's huge. Hey, Cubus, we breaking everything? No, we're kind of thinking about how much space that we have to play with right now. So this is the build size that I have now, which is 17 by 17. And it's nice for this screen. Like, it's nice for the full-sized. How are you doing, Cubus? It's been a while. We got the auto tiler really working great with rotations and everything. So we can rotate around the map. We can draw stuff. The cutaway system's working again. We're in pretty good shape. Yeah, thanks. I'm just trying to think about how much space we have. Because I've been working on half-sized versions of all the pieces. I kind of want to add a background layer here so this is less eye bleeding. Oh, that's the same color as these. Who cares? So we have all our new pieces of the hull. Yeah, I make all of these orange. And I've made miniature versions of them that are half scale. I tried making quarter scale ones, and it was like too hard. So we need to be able to auto tile the exteriors of the ships. Been well, had little sleep but catching up again. Good. That's good. So I'm kind of thinking about how much space we have. I would like to have a zoomed out mode where you can have like 4 ships, up to 4 ships all surrounding the hero ship. This is a 15 by 15 grid and it's like overwhelming. So I'm thinking about going down to smaller ship sizes so that we have more options like this. What do you need the half one scales for? Details or just wider view? It's the wider view. I'm gonna try 11 by 11. I don't really want to go below that. I don't think 13 is gonna be enough. Too many. I can imagine a version of this game that's like mainly about space stations where you have this like much larger build area and you can kind of zoom the camera around so you can see more stuff. That'd be cool, but it wouldn't necessarily be this game. This feels a little constrained, only having this much space. But there is the vertical space that I need to consider. Because we were looking at the Kestrel earlier, and that's like a fairly small ship, but our walls are these thick tiles, and that matters too, I guess. So I think the scale of our ships is going to end up being very small. It's going to be a lot more like Firefly and a lot less like Star Trek. Like in terms of the size of the individual ships, which is fine. I don't mind. Certainly make it easier to run on like Steam decks and stuff like that. So here's an 11 by 11. Let's give it 5 decks again. Kind of like that proportion. Actually, maybe I don't like that proportion now that we've got, maybe we want 4 or 3 or 4. How much are we willing to give up to be able to see other ships at the same time? I mean, honestly, maybe that's not how we do this. Maybe we do it like, we have just a little silhouette, and then you click the silhouette to look over at the other ship. And it like pans the camera over. Maybe trying to fit this many ships on one screen is like impossible. So maybe the zoomed out, instead of being like this, it's like, I really regret how I did this. What I get for not doing layers, as always. Yeah, maybe you can only see 2 ships at a time. So, I want to select the opposite of this. No, not invert the color. Invert the selection. Select inverse. So maybe instead you have your central ship, and then when you open up, when you zoom out, you can see this, and you can see like quarter scale silhouettes. So just the outer lines. I could probably manage that in like a sensory view. And you could go over to them and it will show the 2 ships opposite each other like this. Something like this, like one over here, one over here. And then if you want, you can center on this other one and zoom in. Maybe that's more realistic. You have 15 by 15 zoomed in, and then zoomed out, you can achieve something like this. This is probably more realistic, because most of the time you'll probably only be fighting one other ship. We would just need the multimodal thing if like you happened to have more ships in the area. Because there also might be, the ships might be in a line, so like you're on this side, there's another ship here, and then maybe there's another ship behind this ship. I don't know. This feels better though. This feels more roomy. I really didn't want to go below 15 by 15 for the buildable area. 15 by 15 by 5. I like this. This is the zoomed in version of it. I think there's enough room here for UI. I think there's enough space here for some interesting creation. I think the ratios are okay. Our ships are going to be bulbous. They're not going to be like flat and sleek typically. I think they're going to be more bulbous, kind of ponderous, but I'm okay with that as well. $15 by $15 by 5. Yeah, I think that's the sweet spot here. So it's definitely smaller than what we've currently got going on over here. This is a 17 by... Actually, no, this is 15 by 15 because the buildable area is 1 less than Let me verify that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so we're already building a 15 by 15 area. I like that. Could also just stretch the build area to 15 by 20 by 5. True, true. The fact that things can rotate, though, means that I would need to account for that. So, like, what would happen if two lengthwise ships happen to meet nose to nose? Like, would there be room? That would be the question. And in this context, I don't think there would be. I think that would just be a little too close, nose to nose. But I don't know, maybe it is. We'll consider it. All right, so that's sorted. So I'm pretty happy with that. Let's put that in here somewhere. Ship scales, I don't know. Ship scale mockup. I think that's an okay compromise. Why is this one's background so much worse? Oh, are we using the... We're using the desaturated colors here. That's why. Should have used that. There we go. Love indexed color mode. I just swap the palette out and it just changes them for me. Nose to nose can also just be an offset side to side. That's true too. That's true too. That's a good point. So now we need to think about organizing, how we're organizing this stuff. Because we need a new... I don't know if you were here for this, Cubist, but we've kind of split our code base into two pieces. We're kind of thinking about building out the gameplay layer as like... So we're thinking about having, you know, our scene tree basically being a game manager, plus all of the scenes that we eventually add. We're basically thinking about flowing like this. So we have an input handler, autoloader. We have this game manager in the scene tree. And then we have all of these sum managers that are handling like state. They're handling state, and then based on state, they're passing things down to different managers to control how things flow. And we're thinking about having this entire sub-manager area just off in C# land. In C# land away from the Godot API, away from node instances and things like that. So we can do all of the simulation outside of Godot, essentially, outside of GD script. We just do it all in pure data, just manipulating data, just have like tightly packed like arrays of like structs and stuff like that, instead of having everything being backed by like a node. And then whatever scenes we need, the scene manager can make. Scene manager might also just be the game manager. It's hard to say, since the game manager is in the scene tree. There might not be such a concept as the scene manager. Maybe it is. But yeah, drive everything by states and managers. Right now, we're not trying to do all of that. Right now, we're trying to do something much simpler. We're just gonna focus on recreating our editor tool in C#. We'll see. Right now, I'm still just thinking about how I'm going to capture everything. Because right now, our tile block system is just like... Get rid of these errors. Right now, our tile block system is just a... dictionary. Where is it? Oh, it's on the whole stack. It's just a dictionary of tile blocks. And I think I want a different system. Obviously, I want a distance system. And then the tile blocks themselves are just like collections of like enums. They aren't even these objects. They're literally just the enums. But I'm thinking about having like, at least for ships, I'm going to have like a tightly packed like array of tiles, and then each tile will be like a struct containing the block, and the block will have, similarly, I think it'll have a tag of like what it's composed of, and then we'll just have some data. But I don't know. I was also considering going more component based with it, where a block would be considered like an entity. I don't think I really care about that because the block entity wouldn't really have an identity beyond. I mean, there's a benefit to doing that, because if we do that, the block is the entity. We could have all of the floors packed in to an array. We could have all of the walls packed into an array. We could have all of the doors packed into an array. Instead of storing all of this information on each block. We could just iterate. If we want to iterate through all the floors, we could just do that. But we generally want to iterate through floors per deck, so that's also not necessarily needed. We could just put everything on each block. And they're kind of keyed by position. The indexing of the array would just be a flattened vector 3. Probably. That would mean XY data would be largely packed close enough that we probably keep it in cache if we're just iterating through all of those. So I don't know. Iterating through all blocks in an 11 by 11 grid also doesn't matter. This is where Cubist would say, do you really care about the performance of iterating through an 11 by 11 or a 15 by 15 by 5 block of tiles or blocks? 15 by 15 by 5, it's barely 1,000 elements. I don't think it matters how you iterate through that. Yeah, Cubist knows. Cubist, you're our boogeyman for good workflows and wise thinkings, wizened learnings. Depends how often you do it, though. Yeah, it's true. It'd probably be like multiple times per frame, but there'll only be like a handful of them. So yeah. So I don't know. There's some easy stuff. There's some easy wins we could have, like having them be tightly packed in an array like that, and then like refer, just like pull all the variables in by ref, like try to copy as little as possible and just operate all directly on that array. But let's go over here. And let's make a block and let's decide how we want to structure this. So got a new solution. Oh, okay. cool. This is more than I want to see. There we go. Make a struct. Let's call it the block struct. You can also use like array.filter and similar methods, which will be slightly faster since they are implemented in C++. You mean like the Godot array.filter, right? Or you mean C#? So I'm trying to be sensitive to marshalling costs and stuff. I honestly barely remember C#. It's been so long since I've been using it. So a struct block, we'd have like an enum. Have like an enum. We could call it type. Actually, I want to call it comp. I guess in composition. We'd have like, it would also be a flag. Bit flags. We'd have something like empty equals something like so we enumerate our block here, null dec, I don't know if we're gonna end up wanting a bit flag, but this is currently how I'm using it. So I'm just gonna recreate this. Bride Nails, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. How are you doing today? Welcome to the channel. Door. Kind of forgetting autocomplete is a tab, even though it just tells me right there. Deco. So go through this list. There's an argument to be made to like have a block be like a class and like have subfield things, but I don't know. I'm gonna do this as simply as possible for as long as possible. So here's where it gets complicated to me, which is maybe an argument for why block should be a class, because if we have a bulk and we have a deck and we have a door and we have all these different things, each of those have their own stats. So I'm tempted to just have, you're fine, started learning Godot since 2020, but stopped after a couple months. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're relatively new to Godot as well. We've been working in GDScript land here for the past year, just kind of prototyping up a bunch of stuff. We're working on migrating some of our code base to C# for reasons. Flags attribute not found. Oh, I need to put some usings. I kind of expected them to just do this. Go. Jumped into C# performance issues. No, it's just kind of what I was talking about earlier of like the simulation layer of this game doesn't really need to be in GDScript, and in fact, it doesn't need to be backed by nodes at all. Like if we have like, let's say we have like 4 ships that we're simulating, right? One of them is in focus. Maybe 2 of them are in focus in miniature if you have the zoomed out view. But like if you're just in this view and you're directing your people around, you need to simulate all 4 ships, but you only need to render 1 of them. So we could have all 4 ship scenes running. We could have weird like weird like intermediate states as like nodes of like we could have a ship that's in the simulation but not rendering mode. We could do all this different stuff. Or we could just have the game state exist separately from the rendering state and just keep simulating the game state for all of this stuff as we need it, and then just focus on rendering it if we need to. But yeah, this is kind of what we have so far, Fried. We kind of have this tool that lets us build stuff. It's an auto tiler and like a shipbuilding tool, and we're trying to recreate it. You can rotate everything around. So you can build these ships. They look kind of horrible. So I ended up making a bunch of new hull types that we can use, like decorative types, to like give some dimension or give some silhouette to them. But our current architecture doesn't really support this, so we're rewriting a lot of stuff. Thank you. Oh, is your sim layer tied to the tile maps now? No, we're specifically like decoupling the sim layer from the tile maps. It actually is already decoupled pretty much. You can't imagine how hard it was to code. It was more about persistence than it was about skill, I'll tell you that. And there's a lot of gaps in what we can do. Like here's an issue for us. Oh hey. Hey, I'm Suck, which almost seems like a bait as a name, but that's cool. You're saying that's cool? Thank you. I appreciate the thought. Welcome to the YouTube chat here. But yeah, we have all these pieces, and these pieces, unlike this piece, which is the floor and the wall pieces previously made up all of what we had. And now we're adding these pieces, which have directionality. I think the block is going to be the class, and then we're going to have structs for each of the block components, is I think what we're going to do. Oh, that's good. You do feel like a gameplay prototype should come before a full sim rewrite, though. Yeah, kind of, but like, we already can't incorporate this new stuff with our current system, so we need to rewrite it. We've mostly decoupled the game state from the rendering state. T2D Gaming YT, nice, thank you, appreciate that. Lol, no bait. The shipbuilding thing is just awesome. Yeah, your name is just hilarious. I'm Suck. I appreciate it. We try to assume positive intent on this channel, so no worries. Don't feel. We don't want to call anyone out, really. But yeah, so we already can't incorporate a bunch of stuff. We have this. We have our nice little building tool, which we love. And the auto tiler, which is going to make it possible to even design this thing, because I'm not laying this out. But yeah, we've already split the game state from rendering state pretty much. So I feel like formalizing that and then building that way in the long run will be a lot healthier. So what, you don't need pretty ships for gameplay right now? I disagree somewhat, because I'm streaming development of this game, so I'm a very aesthetics forward person. Like people that come in and don't know what I'm working on, they need to be able to see cool shit happening. So like, yeah, I could gray box everything, But we have another problem, which is like we need to simulate the crew movement. And our current process definitely can't handle that. So if I'm going to be totally rewriting the architecture of this system, like even this architecture system doesn't consider crew management at all. And it's going to need to, it's definitely going to need to. So like we add a card here, crew manager, and the crew managers, the crew could be on different ships. So the crew aren't trivial like the blocks. Like a crew person could be on any ship. They could teleport over to another ship. So we need like the concept of entities or something like that. And like when the prototype was in Godot or in the scene tree and everything was tied to a node, it was like relatively trivial to do that. So like the live manager and the plan manager both need to talk to the crew manager. And then there's this whole separate thing that happens over there. We do see cool shit, but not happening. Ooh. Oh. Body blow. Body blow. But yeah, I'd rather just eat the cost of redoing this now when the auto tiler, because the auto tiler for what it does is in a perfectly good state. Like it accomplishes the things that we needed to accomplish. It's kind of a bunch of spaghetti code, but it does what we need to do. I have a bunch of new functionality in mind, but I'd rather not like I'd rather not hack stuff in. I'd rather just rewrite. I'd rather just reach this point in C# in our decoupled game state rendering state land where everything is separate and good. I'd rather just get to a similar point and then start adding in new features. You're in an evil mood today? No, it's okay. Somehow, Cubus, you are simultaneously the devil and the angel on my shoulder. It's kind of incredible. But yeah, so maybe block is a class. We also want to be able to refer to blocks enum, composition enum stuff. And then maybe what we're going to have is like component structs. Because I want the components, because I think block is going to be a kind of stand-in for an entity for us. And it will just tell us what we have. It'll just keep track of what we have. It could even keep track of whether we have a crew here. Oh. Don't listen to that. This is cool all. Especially as someone who's new to game dev. Great to watch someone else's thought process with more experience. Yeah, I have some experience. I don't have a ton of experience. I have some game jams that I'm pretty proud of that we've made over the last year in Godot. But they're pretty few and far between. And yeah, I do try to be very verbal about the process, about like walking through my thought process. That's why I've started diagramming stuff. I want to start writing stuff more out in Obsidian. I really like this program. What does FTL mean? Sunny Lou. FTL is a video game. FTL, faster than light. It is an amazing, incredible game. It's about 12 years old now. But it's this it's a sort of roguelike where you are commanding a starship and you are going on these kind of space adventures, and you've got to manage power assignment. So you command your crew, you balance your power distribution. So you've got this pool of power over here, and you have to assign it to systems. You got to fight ship to ship. You either like teleport people over to fight in hand to hand, or you use your ship weapons. But yeah, you got to manage the power and the maintenance of these different systems to defeat other ships. So we're doing something kind of, this is our inspiration, but we're doing like an isometric 3D version of this. That is our goal. We're working on a tool right now that lets us design these ships, because this is all made statically in 2D. But our art style is kind of different. We're kind of going for this sort of thing here. We're going for a side-on kind of isometric 3D look. That's kind of our goal here. Our guiding light. So gameplay-wise, we're going for FTL, but visually we're going for like an isometric, a pseudo-isometric, it's actually dimetric, 3D kind of look, which is why we've spent all of this time on this tool that lets us build ships. And that's what we're working on expanding. So we can just build a bunch of layers. We can build rooms. We can build doors. So we've got this whole auto tiler that lets us place these 2D sprites. We can rotate ship around. So we're taking a more positional approach to the FTL model, where your rotation, your position relative to the other ships matter, because the FTL doesn't really care about positions. It's a little more abstracted. That's awesome. I really appreciate that. Thank you for hanging out and asking questions. So a block is going to need to know, so this is its composition. So the comp is its flag component list as bit flag. This is kind of a list of our components as bit flags. We could probably have our position here. I don't think we need to, because we're going to be organized by position, and a block is never going to move, which is why this is kind of like an entity that is position, that whose ID is its position. Maybe we have something like a vector 4. Vector 4i. What do you not like about Godot 4i? We're going to use Godot. We're going to use system. I like that I can access the integral version of the vectors. Tuner nerds. Oh, snap. You're looking sharp today. And you can hear me. Thank you. Thank you, tuner nerds. So we might have our position. I don't think we need to, we don't need to be able to directly access our components from here. But what we do need, we do, So we can iterate through the blocks. If the blocks or positions are packed into an array by position, we can iterate through the blocks really easily. But if we want to like iterate through all floors, that would be harder, because if we pack, maybe the block just needs to know about its component stuff, because we don't really need to store that stuff separately. the thing about it is that, let's look at this, because the reason I'm thinking about this is I'm thinking about direction, because a lot of these blocks have direction. But the thing is, they all have direction. So like, if we have a wall that's got this slope, if a block has this wall and it's sloped, but it has a floor and the floor is regular, we can't just have a direction on the block, because then we'll render, we would say, it would be like, oh, okay, so this wall has this direction, because the block has the direction, and the floor has the direction. You're amazed at the auto tiler? Thank you, I'm sorry. That's my pride and joy so far, is the auto tiler, which lets us select the what I call the hull type, which is like whether a block is entombed, if it's like solidly blocked on the back, or it's exposed on the side. So we need to record directions. So I'm kind of just thinking about our architecture, because I'm trying to do something more compositional, but I'm trying not to go full ham, like to go ham on like ECS or something like that, because we don't need that. Because like a block is not an entity, because a block does not have its own independent life outside of the grid. It like doesn't. So arguably the block doesn't even need to be a class. And it also arguably doesn't need that compositional list. It could just be, we could just have their components stored. It would just, a block would really just be a list of indexes into the component store. But I guess I want to look at my code and see how often, so how often are we iterating by floor or iterating by hull? I think the answer is kind of often. So like the floor layer here, we iterate through every tile block. But we are interested in comparing whether the other tile blocks are a door or a wall or a floor. Maybe we don't iterate by sub, like by like block component. Maybe we don't iterate by door or floor or wall. Maybe we only iterate by block, in which case it makes sense to just tightly pack in the blocks and keep all of the blocks data there. In which case we kind of have an array of structures. Got a dip again. Have a nice rest of the stream. No worries. Thanks, Cubus. Thanks for being the devil on my shoulder and keeping me honest here. It is an important role, and someone has to do it. I'm sure Two Neater Nerds will take over on the why isn't there a gameplay prototype of this game yet? So yeah, we are largely iterating over tile blocks, and we aren't actually iterating just over. Here we are, but we're specifically looking for the tile below us. And why are we even doing that? That's not for the get hull types, is it? Oh, I see, we're iterating like this. More tiles, more. You're a changed man aboard the tile train. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, maybe the block is just a struct and it just has its tile information. And it just has this. This provides a nice list of what we have. The crew one I'm maybe a little concerned about. Maybe we don't need to know about that. Maybe a block doesn't need to know if it has a crew. The crew needs to know what's going on in the blocks, but maybe this part's not necessary. In which case, we really don't need to have a position here, because the position is the index by which we get this block, and the block doesn't need to know Yeah, maybe the block does need to know what its position is. Probably not. Probably doesn't. It's probably just a bunch of space we're wasting by including that here. Do you like the occasional jam breaks, though, to see you flex the gameplay muscles? Yeah, I think if I wasn't doing game jams, I'd be a lot more nervous about my ability to get a prototype out. But especially since my last jam, since mini delivery, that felt so... That was such a confidence booster that I'm good. Yeah. When we need to, we can ship it. Oh, I was going to replace this with this. And then I didn't do it. I should think about the miniature. So the miniature thing we don't really care about. So we have a bulk. Maybe it doesn't need to be a class. Maybe it could just be a struct. May or may not need a position. But what it does need is like... We need to be able to store a door direction. So for each of these components so far, we really just need one piece of information. So for the deck, we need its direction. For the bulk, we need its direction. For the door, the bulk might also need another piece of information, which is like, is it a soft piece or like a hard piece? Like, is it circular or is it sharp? Because right now we only have sharp pieces, but eventually I want to do more like rounded ones, which is going to be hard, but I want to do it. So like we have like a, oops, I forgot that's what it would do. So we have like a rounded edge. That'd be cool. Instead of just having it be sharp. I think having more organic ship pieces would be really cool. That'll be hard. That'll be tough to do. And I'm not doing it now. I'm just kind of thinking about it. It's definitely something we want. Or we could have that be part of its direction. We could have that be like the W component of the direction or something like that. Pack that info in there. And deco just really needs to know what kind of decoration it is, probably. And I guess also its direction. So we could do something similar. So I need to list these in here somewhere, somehow. I'm not that clever at the moment with C#, so we're gonna be just kind of simple and dumb about it. We should just have structs for these. Just add. So that way if I change it, we don't have to change the block. Let's make a struct. I probably want to store this enum separately from the, especially if block becomes a struct, we definitely want to have the composition in the block. We would have that separate. Why did I make this so big? Couldn't this just be like... There we go. Can make it bigger eventually if I need it. Yeah, let's split this off into being its own thing. Make an enum called composition. Don't ask me this again. Public enum, flags, add the thing. Move this over. I rename this to be like ship part or something like that, or block comp or something like that. But we can go back here and we can just say public. Well, we put the position first because the position is basically our ID. And then we would have composition, public composition. Hey Fody, how's it going? We're good. The auto tiling stuff is great. We're kind of getting started in a refactor here, in a brave new world here. Early days. Okay, so it's kind of wasteful if I just store all of this here, but it's also fine. Yeah, I'm least sure about this vector 4 position thing. I mean, it's good for an entity to store its own ID, but I'm not sure how I would get this block outside of that, especially if we make it a struct. So we need like vector 4. There would be like a deck direction. So we need, the deck would need a direction, the bulk would also have a direction. Doors would also have a direction, but a door direction doesn't need to be a vector 4, I guess. Oh, we could make separate structs for deck bulk. That's what I kind of wanted to do, didn't I? So it could be like... deck bulk. Yeah, the deck is the floor piece and the bulk is the hull piece. Like bulkhead is used a lot and like deck head is used as well, but they refer to specific pieces. So I'm just saying the deck is just the deck plate and the hull and the bulk is like a bulkhead. I'm one of those people that like criminally short variable names. DCK, BLK. Okay, maybe that's criminally short. That's like go to jail. Red alert. We're under attack here. Raise the shields. Target weapons. We've got like an enemy raider coming in. Send It Software. Thank you for the raid. How's it going? How was your stream? No, we're friendly. Thank you for the follow. What is this magical FTL in the context of whatever this is? I mean, raid. Yeah, so this is a game we're working on. It's kind of FTL. It's FTL-like, but we're taking on a kind of like a very Star Trek influenced, like isometric 3D look. Here's kind of a style guide piece of like a shot of a bridge. Currently, we're kind of just deep in tool territory, tool making territory. We have an auto tiler. So we have this area that's the shipbuilder that I can kind of iterate through. We can build on different layers. So if I build on this layer, we've got let's make this like this. So we can auto tile and build these spaces. If you'll notice, it becomes this light gray here because we also have a system that can tell whether a compartment is pressurized or if it's exposed to space. So if I destroy this wall, it becomes like this. And then if I seal it back up again, we've got this pressurized area that we can build in now, like put rooms. We can also put doors. We've got this whole... So we can build these stacked three-dimensional ships. We can also rotate them. So it's more of a evolution of the FTL design into like a third dimension where like positionality matters a lot more. Dude, this looks cool. Oh, did you ever hear back on Two Nerdy Nerds if your demo is going to be featured on the next fest? That'd be awesome. Send It Software. How was your stream though? What were you working on? Yeah, we're working on this. I'm kind of unhappy with the like cement block look that we've got because we can only really put down these square blocks, either like floor tiles or like wall tiles. It's really all we can build. And door tiles. So we kind of need some more variety here. So I've been working on the variety of like building more hull pieces, like different curved pieces that we can use. But our current system can't really handle this. So we're doing some refactoring. Try to accommodate this. Your game didn't quite make the cut for the preview. Sorry to hear that. Dude, thinking about this perspective in pixel art hurts my head. Yeah, it's dimetric. It's a little weird. So like, we'd have a standard isometric perspective here where you go over by 2 and then up by 1. We're doing a dimetric perspective where you go over by 4 before you go up by 1. And it's definitely weird, but it gives us this nice side-on view. It was kind of hard to think about these pieces. I ended up making these guides, which are like these outline guides of like where the cuts happen. And that made it pretty easy to make these shapes, but the guides are different for every shape. Looks really good. Really, really good. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, the consideration is nice. You would have given up and made it in Blender and put a pixel shader on it. Lamau. Yeah, that's a world. That's a world we could have lived in. I'm trash at Blender. I also don't know much about pixel art either, but having to draw everything like 4 times is a little rough. Like this piece, this one piece here, this is it from one perspective, so I can flip it to get another perspective, but then I have to redraw it for this perspective. And then I can flip it for this, and then I have to redraw those again for the miniature version, which is for like a zoomed out view of the exterior of the ship. So yeah, you really have to draw everything in pixel art if you want to do that. So it's a little rough. You gave up for animations, drawing animations for your character and just learned Blender. That's cool. My characters are really small. Like this is one of my characters. Like this is my animation for them so far. How do I get this to run correctly? So like where our characters are tiny. They're these teensy little guys. It's crazy how you captured the Star Trek vibe in that low resolution. It's all in the outfits, right? But yeah, that's part of the reason we're using a diametric perspective is I only really know how to draw these characters from like a side-on view. But yeah, we're trying to get the vibe. But yeah, I think we're getting there. That one pixel on the neck even has the turtleneck. Yeah, exactly. Oh, Mario won't stop on it. You're killing me, Fody. But yeah, I think we've got a style. I think we've got a direction. A lot of systems designed. Obviously, we only have the tool that barely works to let us build a ship. But we're kind of heading in a different direction. We decided that we wanted to like separate out our game state from our rendering state. So like we're only going to use nodes for stuff that's rendering. And so we're kind of doing a big rework where like we shove everything in the scene tree through the game manager. And then all of our other stuff is happening out in C# land outside of the Godot API. Like it's just pure data being simulated. So we'll go through states and we'll pass it to different managers and we'll do all of this stuff. And then we'll funnel it back into the scene tree for whatever scenes we need, just so we can do the simulation stuff kind of separately. And so that's kind of what we're working on. I say kind of, we're working on a very simple version of it. So it's just a proof of concept without game states, just to get the editor functionality back in. But eventually we're planning something like this, which I've definitely cribbed off of Sorcery Story quite a bit. Wait, so how does this work with the complex texture over the pixels? Oh, I mean, that's just a render I drew. I think we will definitely use some post-processing to achieve some of this stuff. A lot of this can be done with post-processing once everything's back in the scene tree and being rendered. But yeah, this was just done in like Sprite and then like Photoshop. This isn't even an add-on, I don't think. I think this is just a built-in canvas functionality for Obsidian. God, you need to learn how to Obsidian probably. I found out about this like 3 days ago, so I wouldn't feel too bad. I would not feel bad at all. I never do this sort of thing, but since I'm going through this process with people watching, I figured I should be responsible and visualize my process a little more. You really think the post-processing over the top of the pixel art looks so good? Yeah, I'm hopeful that I'll be able to achieve some of it. I mean, my viewport is 640 by 360, but we can do post-processing at native resolution. So we can achieve this kind of look using the Godot post-processing effect stuff. So I think we'll be able to achieve something similar. I'm hopeful. We need a lot more to get a lot more of the art into the game first, obviously. Your project has no architecture outside of your head. Yeah, that's always my process as like a solo dev, but I'm trying to be better. Mostly because the people watching me make this honestly know a lot more than I do about this sort of thing. So that helps. Also, the lighter pixels you have bordering your screen is such a nice effect. Oh yeah, that's just for like compositionally. This is nice. I don't know how we're gonna do this in space. I'm a little concerned about that because I have black outlines over everything. And I think that's gonna be questionable against the background of space. I'm gonna need stuff in the background, like you're gonna need to be fighting in front of planets and nebulas and stuff just to provide some like visual contrast. Or we'll need to change the way that the exterior outline works. We honestly might get rid of the exterior outline, which the auto tiler could do for us. It could pretty easily do that for us. So that's good. You probably get more help from chat than you have people coming looking for help. Yeah, that's me too. That's me too. One idea is to make a gray silver spaceship color outline on the very outside. Yeah, we might do that. For we have like selection outline shaders for like the crew and stuff. So we'll have some white outlines for stuff that you're mousing over inside the ship. And then yeah, for outside the ship, maybe we'll do like a rim lighting kind of thing with like an outline with a lighter outline color for whatever ship you've got going, like a gray or something. Yeah, it's a good idea. Figure that out. All right. I can't stay late today, so we got about 20 more minutes. I actually do have a meeting. You actually like the outline? You think it contributes to the style? Hey, Leandro. I do too, but like this is a very biased like background color. Like this solid blue, like this isn't going to be what it looks like in like space. So I think I still want to have the black outline between contiguous or between heterogeneous textures, which at the moment are just solid blocks of color, but they totally won't be. So like I think I'll still have that sort of thing, but the question is whether we get rid of the outline around the very outside of the ship, and I'm a solid maybe for it. I still like having it anytime there's a change in surface. So I also like it. There's some cases where you can't really see it, like where we switch to this dark gray interior either, but you can certainly see it when we switch material types. So yeah, I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see when we have a more sophisticated texturing, because right now it's all just flat texturing. So we'll see if I start to add more detail in the texture, what makes sense. Because yeah, some of the outlines definitely help, like the outlines between the floor and the walls and stuff like that. Definitely helps a lot. Spaceship building was the only part you liked about Starfield? Same. And yours looks better than theirs? Ouch. Ouch. I mean, it's still an open question to me how much of this functionality I'm going to expose to the player. Obviously, the cutaway stuff here is necessary for just navigating the game, but like, I built this tool so that I can make the game. And it would need a lot of work to make it friendly enough that like a player could use it. Maybe modders could use it. That's like a possibility. DLC. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I do want to make it available as a mod tool for sure, if that's possible. Then I don't have to make all the content myself, you know? So that's burdensome. All right. I kind of want to work on something chill for the end of the stream here. You bought your Xbox just for Starfield, being a Skyrim fanatic. Imagine your disappointment. That is painful to hear. It is truly painful to hear, Leandro. So I've made miniature versions of these tiles over here. And I made miniature versions of these ones over here. I just need to do these. And these ones are super easy. So I made the guidelines this morning. So I kind of want to just knock these out. Starting with this one. So the way you make these is you check to see which of the seams apply. So it's this one on the left and then this one on the right, which makes sense because it corresponds to kind of the back face and the front face of things. So to make this, we just take this and this. We overlay them and we just get rid of the parts we don't need. That. I don't love that, but that's what it is, so we'll go with it. We like replace this and we color it. There's our little tiny ramp. I really despise this pixel off by itself here. I want to try to make a different line. Let's see if I can do it. So this was the obvious one. This might be too small to be able to achieve anything else. Bethesda is adamant about never updating their RP engine. I mean, it's exactly what they need to make their janky, enormous games. Too expensive to do it or change engines. Yeah, I mean, they spent decades on it. It's true that their engine is perfect for the games they make, but their games are not perfect, so it's like kind of a moot point, isn't it? They definitely pushed their engine past its comfort zone with Skyrim. Or not Skyrim, Starfield. I think the next Elder Scrolls game will be like, it'll seem more obviously the correct engine choice. I think there are things they wanted to do with Skyrim that engine just cannot do. So is it as simple as just adding a single thing here, like this? Is that as simple as it is? So it would be this, 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 this. Oh, this is a little inconsistent. Does this still tessellate? No, it doesn't. Can we do that? Can we do this one? So it would be like this, and then this, and then this. That works. There we go. Okay, so that's the choice. That's better. There's a little bit of, you gotta eyeball this a little bit. I redid, when I was working on the big ones, I redid them all like 3 times just to get the exact right pixel layout I wanted. It was very tedious. Skyrim is beyond perfect. You're waiting for Elder Scrolls 6? Exactly. I heard it started dev for a while and they paused. I mean, they've been probably working on it for what, like almost a decade. They did definitely pause it to do Starfield, but I think that time is long past. I think this is it. Test this to make sure I got it right. There should be overlap. Yeah, there, or not overlap. I have a really complicated rule here where the outlines from the side don't overlap. Creates an interesting effect. It means when you tessellate a shape, you can still see the outlines of the edge of each piece. The auto tiler gets rid of it in most cases, but when it doesn't, it's nice to have as a visual effect. I need to see the background. You worked with a few people from Bethesda, and that's what you heard. Interesting. There's court documents from Microsoft for the FTC that has a planned 2026 release date. Interesting. Means we'll probably see it in 2027 or 28. Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's the thing about the huge, mega, big AAA games, of which there's only a handful. Like the really big ones, like GTA, Elder Scrolls. We're getting to the point where these development cycles are like decades, which is like wild. It's like 10 years to make the sequel to these games, at least, if not longer. I mean, GTA 5 came out when the world was young and everything still felt new. All right. These ones are like kind of, this was like the only one that's difficult. The rest of these I think feel like kind of degenerate. I guess maybe these are interesting to do. The rest of these pieces, because of our diametric perspective, are like degenerate in a weird way. I guess these ones are okay. I'll do these, maybe. Do you have a regular streaming schedule? You'd like to check it out again? Yes, it's currently... This is close to my ending time. I'll be wrapping up in about 15 minutes, and I start about 2 hours before this. This, I'm hoping, next month is going to be like my starting time, and I go for like 4 hours after this. So I'm hoping to change my schedule, but right now it's like this time starting about 2 hours before now. But that'll hopefully change, because I honestly don't have enough time to do it right now. My streams are only 2 hours, and I really need like 4 or something like that, because I do have a day job and it takes up a lot of my time. I need this game is going to take a lot, so I really need to just make more time for it. That's okay. This looks a little janky, but it's okay, I think. We also have a Discord with stream alerts and stuff like that. Leandro, I saw you joined the Game Jam Discord. Hopefully you find some cool stuff in there, like a jam team or something. People there are really cool. Kind of on the quieter side, but it picks up whenever a jam comes around. It's the wrong color. But yeah, I'm excited to see what you're working on, Send It Software. What are you working on? You cut out at the exact wrong time. This VR thing, he has a deadline. Oh, for sure, for sure. Focusing totally on that. Yeah, fair. Send it. I said that this is close to my ending time normally, but I'm hoping that in a couple of weeks this will become my start time. So my schedule is in flux a little bit, but I do stream almost every day. Oh no, every weekday. Almost every weekday. So might be some changes, but yeah, I never heard what you're working on. It's a restaurant simulator that plays like a JRPG. It's called In the Weeds Tipping Point. Okay. Thursdays are the only day you end this early. Oh, for sure, for sure. Well, I'm glad I caught you. Hopefully when I got my new schedule, I'll be able to catch some of your streams when I'm not streaming at this time. Is literally the same thing here? Yes. No, they're not. Yes, they are. These tiny little pieces. Then I'll be done with this for a while, which would be nice. At least until I decide to make the circular pieces. But I'm just going to be happy with these. I'm not going to work on the rounded pieces for a little bit until we get this figured out. It's got some really unique systems. You're excited to keep working on it? It sounds exciting. Is it in Godot? Or are you working in something else? Yeah, Godot. Only use open source tools. Nice. We're pretty good about that. As far as like we use like Blender, we don't use Blender for this, but we've used it in the past. I ended up getting Writer, or I've had a subscription to Writer for many years, and I kept it when I switched from Unity to Godot over a year ago. I kept it because I was like, I feel like eventually I'm gonna need it again, and here I am, needing it again. What is this? Is this the... Okay, so it's the inside pieces twice. Yeah. So it's these two pieces. You do development Tuesday to Saturday starting at 6 a.m. Eastern. 12-hour streams every day except Thursday. Wow. And you play games on Saturdays? You spent 25 bucks on Texture Packer to help make sprite sheets. And you have A-Sprite as well, but you don't think you paid for anything else. Oh yeah, I guess you do pay for A-Sprite if you don't build it yourself. I mean, I didn't build it myself. Kind of wish I had gotten A-Sprite on Steam so I could have the updates be automatically applied. I like the program enough, I might end up just doing that. Because now I got it on Humble and I have to like go to Humble and like download the update whenever it happens. It's kind of annoying. All right, can I finish these in like 5 minutes? I think so. Most of these shapes are super degenerate. It's like we got unlucky and it's exactly this perspective where our kind of vision here breaks down. Yeah, you just wanted to support the developers. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I might just buy it again because I do like A-Sprite is my like main tool outside of Godot that I use, so I wouldn't mind buying it again. That'd be okay with me. This doesn't feel right. I picked the wrong one. I need to pick this one. Did I get this wrong? Just gonna draw this. I feel like I got one of these wrong. Just take this. Oh, does this? No, this should be fine. It should just look like this. Oh, it doesn't. It is weird. Okay, this is a weird one. So it needs to go from this corner to this corner. I guess that is that, huh? Maybe it should be like this more though. Like this. I'm gonna suspend ads. Yeah, I think I got this wrong. I think this is right. Gotta run, get ready to teach your English lesson today. This is graphically one of the coolest games I've seen. I really appreciate that. Love to play it on stream sometime and help show it off once you have something ready to go. Yeah, sure. Give me another couple of years. I'm hoping once we get the systems together, the gameplay will come together fairly quickly, but you never know. But yeah, I appreciate the, thank you for the raid. Thanks for hanging out. I'll give you the shout out. Hope to catch one of your streams. Because if you keep going into my afternoon, I'm definitely gonna tune in while I'm working. Surprised I haven't seen you yet, even. Oof, is there a difference between this and this at this resolution? I want to say no, but it's kind of close. I think the answer is no, in which case I'm just going to copy these over here. All right, we're probably going to raid out soon because I got to get to work. And this time, unlike yesterday, I actually do have a meeting at 10. I might need to finish this later. Yeah, this has been fun. This has been really great. You, a couple years, you're much better estimating when things will be done than me. I'm planning at least 4 years on this game. 4 more than I've currently done, and I've already done 1 year. You'll stick around for the raid? All right, who are we gonna raid? We're raiding right now. Fox Hollow's doing something. Irad's doing something. Oh, Nano just started streaming. Let's go raid Nano. Nano's a great game dev, working on some good, cool stuff. But yeah, I really appreciate everyone hanging out today. Oh yeah. Hope you join the team. Yeah. Thank you everyone for tuning in today. Thank you, Send It Software, for the raid. We'll be back tomorrow to close out the week strong. I'm gonna do some software architecture planning in the meantime, so we have a little more focus on that part. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'm gonna see y'all next time.